They told us to ditch butter, avoid bacon, and watch our cholesterol like it was a ticking bomb. But here's the plot twist. Heart disease didn't drop. In fact, it climbed. So what happened? While everyone pointed fingers at cholesterol, another culprit quietly snuck onto our plates: heart-healthy seed oils. Canola, soybean, sunflower. They replaced the fats our grandparents cooked with, and within decades, our arteries started clogging faster than ever. Doctors once praised these oils for lowering cholesterol, but lowering cholesterol isn't the same as protecting your heart. That's where the story starts to crack. Because behind every cholesterol-free label lies a chemical process and a health risk nobody warned you about. The story starts in the 1950s, when scientists noticed a rise in heart disease and rushed to find someone to blame. Enter Ansel Keys, a researcher who claimed that countries eating more fat had more heart attacks. The world listened, the media ran with it, and suddenly, fat became public enemy number one. But here's what most people don't know. Keys' data left out nations that didn't fit his theory, like France, where people ate butter daily yet had lower heart disease rates. Still, his simplified message stuck. Fat raises cholesterol, cholesterol clogs arteries, case closed. Governments rewrote food guidelines. Cereal boxes and margarine tubs proudly wore low-fat labels. But no one asked the real question: what are we replacing fat with? That's when seed oils crept in, cheaper, lighter, and marketed as heart-safe. Yet under the hood, they told a very different story. By the 1970s, fear of fat was the new religion, and food companies saw opportunity written all over it. They didn't just follow the science, they branded it. Every shelf screamed cholesterol-free, light, or heart-healthy, and millions trusted the promise. Margarine tubs replaced butter dishes on breakfast tables. Vegetable oils lined grocery aisles, sold as the smart alternative to greasy animal fats. But those golden bottles hid a darker secret. They weren't straight from vegetables. They were chemically extracted from seeds, using heat, solvents, and industrial machinery. Still, the marketing worked. Doctors repeated it, schools taught it. Generations grew up believing butter kills and margarine heals. But no one asked how these oils were made, or what they might do inside the body once heated, oxidized, and consumed daily. Because the truth is, heart healthy was never a health claim. It was a business model. Let's talk about the so-called heroes: canola, soybean, corn, and sunflower oils, the industrial seed oils quietly dominating modern diets. They were sold as plant-based, modern, even clean. But the journey from seed to bottle is anything but natural. Here's what happens. Seeds are crushed, heated to extreme temperatures, and soaked in hexane, a petroleum solvent, to extract every drop of oil. Then they're bleached and deodorized to mask the chemical smell. The end product looks golden and pure, but inside, it's unstable, already oxidizing before it even hits your pan. These oils weren't part of human diets until the last century, yet now they're in nearly everything. Sauces, dressings, chips, even protein bars. You're not just cooking with them, you're bathing your cells in them daily. And here's the twist. They were once considered industrial waste. So how did something once unfit for human consumption become the gold standard for heart health? Seed oils earned their healthy badge not because they were tested long-term on humans, but because they lowered cholesterol in short-term studies. That one metric, total cholesterol, became the holy grail of heart health. Early research found that polyunsaturated fats from seeds could drop cholesterol numbers. So experts assumed that lower cholesterol automatically meant fewer heart attacks. But cholesterol isn't a villain, it's a building block for hormones and cell walls. Lowering it too much can actually disrupt your body's balance. Meanwhile, those same oils were quietly creating another problem: inflammation. As they oxidize, they release unstable molecules called free radicals that damage cells and blood vessels. But that didn't fit the heart-healthy narrative, so it got buried. Food giants loved it. It made their products cheaper, lighter, and longer-lasting. Consumers loved it. It came with a health halo. The perfect illusion. So what really happens when these healthy oils hit your bloodstream? When you cook or eat foods with seed oils, the story doesn't end in the frying pan, it continues in your bloodstream. These oils are rich in omega-6 fatty acids, which, in small amounts, are essential. But in excess, they tip your body into a constant state of inflammation. Once oxidized, these fats create compounds that damage the lining of your arteries, making them sticky and inflamed. Your body rushes to patch that damage with cholesterol, not because cholesterol caused it, but because it's trying to fix it. That's the irony. The very thing we blamed for heart attacks is actually part of the repair crew. Meanwhile, those same unstable oils get stored in your cells, your brain, even your heart tissue. They age your body from the inside out, a slow burn most people never feel until it's too late. And the worst part? You can't just avoid them by skipping fried food. You might think you're safe because you don't deep fry or drown your meals in oil. But seed oils are sneaky. They're everywhere. Check the back of your healthy granola bars, salad dressings, protein shakes, even vegan snacks. The fine print almost always says vegetable oil, soybean oil, or canola oil. Even restaurants labeled organic or clean eating often cook with these oils because they're cheap and shelf-stable. It's why a grilled chicken salad can have more inflammatory fats than a burger. And that's not even counting the snacks, chips, crackers, muffins, all glistening with invisible seed oil residue. It's not just food either. Some baby formulas and heart-smart meal replacements rely on these oils for texture. They're in everything from your morning toast spread to your evening healthy frozen dinner. So you can eat clean and still feed your body toxins in disguise. For years, doctors who questioned the low-fat, high-oil mantra were dismissed as fringe. But now, a growing number of cardiologists, biochemists, and nutrition scientists are rewriting the story of heart disease. Dr. Chris Kenobi, for instance, calls seed oils the biggest dietary change in human history. He and others link the explosion of chronic illness, heart disease, diabetes, even fatty liver, not to animal fat, but to the flood of industrial oils entering our food supply. Researchers like Kate Shanahan and Paul Saladino have shown how these oils trigger oxidation and damage mitochondria, the engines inside your cells. The result? We burn energy less efficiently, inflame our arteries faster, and age more quickly. Even the American Heart Association has quietly walked back some of its early claims, now emphasizing whole dietary patterns instead of demonizing fat. The tide is shifting, but the damage is already done. So if the experts are finally admitting the truth, why hasn't the public heard it yet? Follow the money and the picture becomes crystal clear. The seed oil industry is a multi-billion-dollar machine, backed by agriculture giants, packaged food brands, and fast food chains. These oils are cheap to produce, easy to store, and perfect for mass manufacturing. Health was never the main motive, profit was. When the war on saturated fat began, these corporations saw a golden opportunity. They rebranded industrial byproducts as vegetable oils and spent millions funding research to make them look heart-friendly. They sponsored diet guidelines, placed ads in medical journals, and even partnered with organizations meant to protect consumers. Meanwhile, doctors repeating these talking points weren't lying. They were simply taught outdated science funded by the very industries selling the solution. And when independent researchers began sounding the alarm, they were sidelined, mocked, or ignored. The system wasn't broken, it was designed this way. But numbers don't lie. Around the same time seed oil use skyrocketed, heart disease became the world's leading killer. Coincidence? Maybe not. Let's zoom out and look at the numbers. In the 1960s, people cooked with butter, lard, and tallow, and heart disease rates were rising, sure. But once seed oils flooded the market and low fat became gospel, things didn't improve. In fact, obesity, diabetes, and heart disease all kept climbing. Between 1970 and today, seed oil consumption in the US has increased over 1,000%. Yet heart disease remains the top killer worldwide. Meanwhile, countries that stuck with traditional fats, think France, Greece, Japan, still show lower cardiovascular deaths despite eating foods once labeled unhealthy. Even more revealing? In the Minnesota coronary experiment, participants who replaced saturated fat with vegetable oil lowered their cholesterol, but died at a higher rate from heart disease. The data was buried for decades. So, if the evidence doesn't support the story, why hasn't the message changed? Here's the truth buried under decades of bad science. It's not fat that kills, it's inflammation. When your body's inflamed, your arteries swell, blood vessels stiffen, and your immune system stays on high alert. This chronic stress makes it easier for plaque to form and harder for your heart to heal. And guess what fuels that inflammation? You guessed it, seed oils. Their unstable omega-6 fats oxidize fast, turning into toxic byproducts that your body can't easily clear. They irritate your arteries and trigger the very immune response that leads to heart attacks. Meanwhile, natural fats, butter, olive oil, avocado, stay stable under heat and nourish your cells instead of damaging them. It's like comparing a campfire to a chemical explosion. One gives steady warmth, the other leaves destruction behind. The real danger isn't cholesterol clogging your arteries, it's inflammation lighting them on fire. So if seed oils are the villains, what does real heart health look like? Start with fats your body actually recognizes, the ones humans have eaten for centuries. Think extra virgin olive oil, avocados, grass-fed butter, nuts, and wild-caught fish. These foods are rich in omega-3s and antioxidants that cool inflammation instead of fanning it. Olive oil, for example, has been the backbone of the Mediterranean diet, one of the most heart-protective diets on Earth. Cultures following it enjoy lower rates of heart attacks, even while consuming plenty of fat. The key isn't avoiding fat, it's choosing the right kind. Add in colorful vegetables, fiber-rich grains, and steady movement, and you've got a heart that thrives, not one fighting invisible fires. The secret isn't cutting calories or chasing trends, it's returning to what's real and stable. The easiest way to protect your heart? Start with the back of the package. Most people glance at calories or protein, but the real truth hides in the fine print. Flip that label and look for words like vegetable oil, soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, or cottonseed oil. Those are your red flags. Companies often disguise them under friendlier names like Heart Blend, Light Oil, or cholesterol-free. Don't fall for it. Cholesterol-free doesn't mean safe. It usually means processed. Instead, reach for products using olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, or butter. Look for cold-pressed, extra virgin, or unrefined. These words signal minimal processing and maximum nutrition. And here's a pro tip. If the ingredients list is longer than your grocery receipt, it's not real food. It's chemistry. Once you start spotting these oils, you'll realize how common they are and how powerful it feels to say no. Ready to give your heart a breather? Here's a simple one-week roadmap to clear out inflammatory oils and reset your system. No gimmicks, no starvation. Day 1 to 2. Audit your kitchen. Check every bottle, dressing, and snack. If it lists vegetable, canola, soy, or corn oil, toss or replace it. You can't heal in a toxic pantry. Day 3 to 4. Swap smart. Cook with olive or avocado oil. Try real butter for flavor. Notice how food tastes richer and more satisfying, because it actually is. Day 5 to 6. Eat color. Fill half your plate with greens, berries, and roots. Antioxidants in real foods mop up free radicals those oils left behind. Day 7. Move and rest. A brisk walk and full night's sleep lower inflammation better than any supplement. In 1 week, your cravings calm, your energy evens out, and your body starts repairing from the inside. Not magic, just biology, finally unchained. After decades of fear-mongering and marketing, the truth is clear. Cholesterol wasn't the enemy, inflammation was. And the healthy oils sold as salvation? They quietly fueled the very disease they promised to prevent. Your heart doesn't need ultra-processed solutions. It needs stability, clean fats, real food, rest, movement, and balance. Every label you read, every meal you choose, is a vote for how your body feels years from now. Seed oils built an empire on confusion, but now you know better. You don't have to be perfect, just aware. Swap one product, one habit, one meal at a time. That's how heart health returns, not through fear, but through understanding. Because in the end, it's not about avoiding food, it's about avoiding fake food. And that's a choice that keeps your heart and your truth alive.